Where did you feel it got away today?
Certainly around the ball. There's probably a few issues in the game. Our contest method around the ball, not only at scrimmage but at stoppage, just isn't where it needs to be right now. And it's something that we need to fix pretty quick. That's the starting point of the game. And when you go down, minus 18 or something at clearance, especially all between the arc, and your scrimmage contest methods, an issue. Too often they got out of there easily, and we fumbled and bumbled around the ball. So we need to get that fixed, and our execution. Our ability to execute with the ball on hand with our fundamentals and skills wasn't to the level. So when you put those two things together, it makes for a pretty tough day, and clearly a pretty big score kicked against us again.
What was behind the skill execution stuff? Because it seemed particularly fumbly on both sides earlier.
Yeah, obviously the conditions were a little bit windy, but we got to get to work. We acknowledge we've probably got too many players at the moment that aren't in the form that they need to be in, and that's everyone. That's as coaches, we need to fix that. We need to help them. We need to get them in form, and that's the first step to fixing your fundamentals. You could see, just the basics of the game weren't to the standard required, and as I said, we got punished by a team that I think's playing some pretty strong footy. They look like they're full of confidence, and they're playing the right way. So that's where we want to be, and certainly feel we've got the potential to be there. And we're 3 weeks in, and we acknowledge right now where we sit right now isn't where we want to be, and it's not to the level, and we've got to fix it.
Have you got an update for us on Xavier Lindsay?
I haven't got an official update, so obviously he went off with a knee. Not 100% sure where that sits, so we'll have to get a scan on that. Hopefully we're fearing it's not too bad.
You're not fearing an ACL?
Oh, look, it's just too early to tell. It's not quite clear from a medical perspective, and normally you get some pretty good information on that straight away. We're unsure, so we need to go and get that scanned.
You talked about Melbourne's brand today. You're starting to see Damien Harwood's fingerprints all over this side, and the type of side that he had under Richmond a couple of seasons ago when they were at their top.
So,
the type of football that you see the Suns playing at the moment, are you seeing a big replication from what Dimmer had during his time at Richmond a couple of seasons ago?
Oh, look, I think with any coach they play a similar way, but they're in form. They're playing good footy. That's what I do know. And they've got a lot of talent across the park, and we acknowledge today that they were a far better team than us today.
Expecting to have Jake leave the back and Cozzy is back as well next week?
Yeah, we're hopeful to get a few players back next week. We'll get Jake Lever will be back. Cozzy, Caleb Windsor will be back as well, and obviously getting Maisie back today and Jake Melsham. So we're starting to get a few back, which is good.
Charlie Spargo as well.
And Charlie Spargo, yeah, he's just got to work through the protocols, but he's a chance as well.
You're having lots of changes at the moment. Is that having a detrimental effect, having so many changes week on week?
Yeah, look, it's just where we're at. We've got a fair few on our injury list that we're still working with, and combine that with obviously we need to work hard as a club and a coaching group and a team to get everyone in the maximum form they can possibly be in. So yeah, we've got our challenges, and I think at every stage, at every part of the season, you're going to have some challenges at certain times. We're having ours early, but as I said, I've got belief in this group. I've got belief in everything that we're capable of. And you're not seeing it now, and our supporters will be disappointed, and I acknowledge that they would be disappointed with where we sit right now. But we've got unwavering belief in what we're capable of, and we're going to go after delivering it, and we're going to work hard as a club, and we're going to get ourselves back going.
The Lindsay injury obviously was a setback, but Langford's performance must have been pretty impressive for you.
Yeah, look, he's really positive today. We asked him to go and work on some things in the last 2 or 3 weeks in and around his game, and he's gone away and done that. He's come in today, and I thought he was probably our best midfielder on the day, which probably says a bit about to have a guy playing his second game and his first full game to be one of our best players. I think's outstanding for him.
Talk us through the thought process around Christian Petracca playing forward, because I guess there was probably that temptation of moving into the middle at a time when you couldn't get the ball in the middle to get the ball forward.
Yeah, look, we're trying to, obviously you'd love to play Christian in both areas of the ground, but, we wanted to have another forward option for us, another goal-kicking option. And obviously, as the game went on, second quarter he started to get up into the midfield a little bit more, and by the second half he was playing predominantly a fair bit of midfield time. So, it's obviously we'll continue to use Christian where we need him, but today ideally we wanted to play him forward. As the game went on, we needed him a bit more around the ball.
Simon, your forward line setup at the moment just feels a little bit dysfunctional. You don't have the right setup. From a coaching perspective, what sort of things are you doing behind the scenes there to get that forward line a bit more cohesive?
Yeah, we've obviously got some new players down there, first and foremost, but today in some ways that wasn't our biggest issue. We had 40 entries and I think we had 26 shots at goal, which included 4 or 5 that missed completely. So, that wasn't our issue. Our issue was around the ball, our ability to win the ball and our ability to defend around the ball. And that was one of our greatest issues. It's been one of our greatest strengths, and now we need to get back to work and fix it.
Trent Rivers last year showed he can certainly roll through the midfield, but is the absence of McVie and Windsor holding him back, being able to move into midfield and having to play defence instead?
Yeah, McVie and Windsor, obviously we want to get them back into the team to play in the back half of the ground, and River was set to play on the inside today, and Xavier Lindsay was playing down back, and obviously early in the game Xavier went down, so Riv had to go back. So our plan with Riv is to play him through the middle of the ground and give our midfield a different look.
Do you need to make changes to your centre square starter?
Yeah, look, that's always been the plan, is to continue to evolve in that area of the ground. But right now we're not getting it done. So we have to look at our method, we have to look at our personnel, and that's the first part of the ground we're going to fix.
Is it more method over personnel, or is it?
Right now when I watch the game, our method's not right, so we need to fix that first and foremost.
Thanks, Footy.
Thanks, guys.